Virtual and augmented reality are evolving faster than ever. Sure, they can transport us to incredible places, but what if they could also bring us an awesome pet companion? Today, we meet Bernie Yee, founder and CEO of Windup Minds, a company creating a virtual pet experience that feels real. And it all started with inspiration from his own dog, Roxy. How did a real pup help shape the future of VR pets? Find out now on Industry Pets. Bernie, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Good, thank you. It's great to be here.
Roxy is Bernie's 5-year-old German Shepherd lab mix.
My wife and I picked her up from Seattle Humane as a rescue. She was the only girl left in the litter. We get to get a puppy, and she was the one. She's very particular. Like, we'll go to the pet store, and they all know her because she's been going there since a puppy. And people will give her a treat, and she'll be like, "No thanks." Her go-to treat is Stella and Chewy, the freeze-dried stuff. She always likes that. She prefers stuff out of our hand. Like, there are things that she won't eat on the floor, but if I give it to her, she'll like it. She really likes lamb lung, and she really likes duck jerky. And we get this kind of duck jerky from Chewy, and it smells so good, like I want to eat it, but I have not yet tried it. So duck jerky she really likes. I go to the butcher. I have a local butcher shop, and they'll give us like a frozen tube of like organ meats ground up. We'll thaw it. We'll put it in her dish, and she's like, "What else you got for me?" I'm like, "Come on! I gave you this raw food like from the butcher. It's like expensive." And she's like, "Maybe you should sit down with me and let me put some duck jerky in my bowl before I eat." And I'm like, "All right." I sit down, put some duck jerky in the bowl. She's like, "All right," and she'll eat it, and I'm like, "Oh my god, my wife is," and that's where my wife draws the line. She's like, "You feed Roxy because I walk her all day. I cannot handle her princess attitude." And, so I am the official Roxy feeder.
Though an active city dog, Bernie may one day give Roxy more space.
She would be happiest living on a farm with a job to do. She's high drive. So one of her favorite things to do is chase the chuck-it ball. She loves to chase me around the yard, and then for me to chase her back. And she'll like run around the yard like away from me. And she's so freaking fast that I keep thinking, God, if you were a wolf, I am a dead man. Like, there's zero way a human being could outrun her.
Author Alexandra Horowitz, an expert in dog cognition, inspired Bernie.
One of the things I wanted to do, like when I started my company, that the product I wanted to build was a virtual pet, like a kind of like a dog. And part of the thing that I really wanted to understand was, how do humans and dogs kind of overlap their view of the world? So I cold called her. She responded, and I had lunch with her and my wife and my one of my co-founders on the Upper West Side.
Bernie told Alexandra about creating a new virtual companion, which led to some great advice.
And she gave us one of the most important things that I still I've pinned up in our group. And she said to me, "We don't love our dogs for their dogness. We love them for their idiosyncrasies." Because anytime anyone ever explains their pet to you, they won't talk about like, "Oh, she's a great retriever," or "She'll come when she calls," or "She can do this." People talk about, "Oh my God, I have to sit down with her for like a half hour, and I have to hand feed her a little food and get her moving, and then she'll finally eat a little bit." But she doesn't. If I get up, we always talk about the things that make our dogs a little bit quirky, right? That's because that's who they are to us,
right?
And she said that to me, and everything kind of clicked. Like, right, I'm not making a PhD research project on simulating a dog. I want to give something with personality, right?
We asked Bernie, of all the game projects, why make a virtual pet?
A couple things. I think when you're in VR, things feel real to you, right? When you see it, it's not like you're seeing it on the screen. Your brain's telling you it's real. And you put all these things together, right? You feel like you're in a room with things. It's real. It shouldn't try to be this action extravaganza. What can we do with it that's really powerful? And I think about when I was at Oculus and we built the Rift, where you put on the headset, it's all black, you're in this world, you don't see your body, you see some stuff around. It's very disorienting. You don't see you don't see your hands or anything like that. So the first thing we did was we wanted to put you in the world with other creatures to make you feel less lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of led to this idea that, we live in a loneliness epidemic, and people are yearning for a connection. And I felt like with game and AI and VR, where it is today, we could build an imaginary friend, right? That you can play with and who can play with you, who you can care for or who can care for you. I want to replicate the joy I get when I come home from a trip and my wife lets Roxy out of the door and she comes up to the gate and sees me and she's super happy. It'll give them a chance to have a relationship with something if they're like don't have the time or the space or maybe the money or the health, right? If you're in a wheelchair, and build something that's like net social positive, right? And because there's a demand for it, also good business.
We asked Bernie, how do you balance the not so fun parts of pet ownership with a gaming experience?
So there's like in game design, there's sort of positive and negative reinforcement, right? And Tamagotchi took a really bold stance, right? It's like if you don't take care of it, it'll die. And it's a fair game design decision. I want to do the opposite. Like I'd rather it make it happier when it sees you, right? And I think games in general are a way, like when we play games, even as adults, it's a way to pretend we are doing something of significant consequence. So the first thing is I want to be able to put on my headset, and you can put on your headset. Your pet's gone, and you have a little message like visiting Bernie, and I put on my headset, and your pet's with me, and they're playing together, and I can get to do stuff with them, and I could feed them and play with them, and have them do whatever they're doing. And you can call your pet home, or you can be like, it's good for our pets to socialize. So I'm gonna put on my headset. I'll come back in a half hour. So that's the first step. I also want to build a mobile client, so that when you're away from your headset, you can check in. Like, hey, it's feeding time. Or I could ask you to take my pet out on like a quest. Like suppose there's a 2 a.m. for me, like I'll say truffle hunt, right? 2 a.m. truffle hunt, but that's only 11 p.m. for you. So I could say like, hey man, can you just let my dog out and bring him to this event and let him find some truffles and come back? And you're like, yeah, I'll do this and do the phone, like go to the event, come back, maybe like tap it a few times to pet it and put it to bed. If like you and I live next to each other, we'd have the same thing, right? Like here's a key to my house. If I'm late, let Roxy have to pee. Pets are community, right? And I want to build that sense. Eventually, I'd love to have like 3 of us in a space together and our 3 pets working. But that's really complex, and we're just a small startup. I'm going to kind of build gradually to that.
Bernie's amazing team are all inspired by their own real-life pets.
I don't know if it's probably not legal to only hire people with pets. Like, I don't know if I could argue, like, I'm not going to hire you if you don't have a pet. But it turns out we have dog owners, cat owners, and a rabbit owner. So,
nice.
And it's funny because our rabbit person insisted that Ember, who's our name for our creature, doesn't kill other animals. And we're like, okay, cool. Like, I mean, we're a small team, and I'm like, to your point, you don't need cussing to make it good. Like, I don't need. I've seen Roxy kill a baby bunny, and it was really upsetting. So I'm like, I don't want. Yeah, I know. It turns out squeak toys sound like baby bunnies when they're screaming, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't. So we use behavior references all the time. We post TikTok videos of crazy dog stuff. As Alexandra Horowitz says in one of her things, like, dogs are doing next level all the time. We just don't notice it. So we have animation references. We capture our dogs like running around, sniffing, how they, their tail wags. It's 100%. We're gathering our own team. Everyone on the pet team has had a pet, but everyone has like lots of experience with animals. I don't think you can make a game where you want to love an animal if you haven't experienced that yourself.
Absolutely.
you gotta believe. You know what I mean?
We asked Bernie, can this help people's mental health? A sort of virtual therapy dog.
I think there are a lot of people who could benefit from this. Elderly folks, some kids with autism, right? Who want, you need a pet of infinite patience. Kids who have some stress and trauma. So again, I think if I can solve the problem of you feeling like this pet can look into your eyes and love you and vice versa, I think all that can happen. So the first virtual pet I made for a Quest, which was called Bogo. It was a demo. And Bogo looks like a big salamander, and there's a lot of reasons why I chose it, and we had to put it together really quickly. And someone just sent me a video, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months ago, and it was a young lady from a he'd gone through pediatric oncology treatment, and her hair was just growing back, right? And she said, so the hospital put this presentation together, and she said the two apps that got her through this obviously very hard time were BOGO and an app called Trip, which is VR meditation. So to keep her fear and anxiety at bay, and she couldn't bring the cat into the hospital, she kind of turned to BOGO and Trip, these VR experiences, to kind of keep her level.
Yeah.
So I totally think it would work.
How did that make you feel? Something you had a hand in creating, helped them.
It was amazing. I mean, this is why, obviously I'm doing this to build a company and be successful. But I think one of the most rewarding things I ever worked on was Plants vs. Zombies 2. It's a great game. And we would always hang up letters from kids who played it in hospitals.
Oh my goodness.
That was the most, that for the team, I was like, oh my God, this is like, because you're not going to make money just selling the games to kids in the hospital. Like, you make a thing that's loved, and people will use it in surprising ways to make themselves happy. Yeah. So it made me believe like that I already believed that our mission was the right one, but I just, it reminds me that if we can execute on our core vision, there'll be untold benefits for people who have a pet.
This episode's charity highlight is savinggreatanimals.org.
Saving Great Animals is a I went to their fundraiser. They take dogs that are at risk of failing out of the rescue system because they've bitten somebody or they're like really sick. And they really work on kind of rehabilitating them so that they're ready to be fostered and taken in with their forever home.
Wow.
So it's a really, like, they have a house here where they just like the dogs live with a keeper, where they can learn how to be in a house and be taken care of. So there's rescues, and then there's Saving Great Animals that, like, for all the dogs that can't, and we live in a no-kill state, but if your dog has bitten somebody, like, who's going to adopt this person? Who's going to adopt this dog? It's very difficult. No one, shelters don't want them. What happens if your dog is so, traumatized they can't live in a shelter situation? Like, that's really bad. So for all the dogs that fall out of that system, Saving Great Animals is there to kind of take them and kind of rehabilitate them and let them stay in a safe space so they can be adopted out. And then they even, after they're adopted out, they're like, look, if you cannot take care of this dog, we want them back. Like, we'll take them back. Like, they do such good work. So that's why they're my charity.
Bernie, thanks for stopping by the show. It's been an amazing time having you here. Tell everybody what you got going on, a little bit about your studio, and what the socials are that they can hit you up at.
So we started a studio. It's called Windup Minds. It's sort of a nod to the fact that we want to make this intelligence, but it's a little bit, it's mechanical. It's a game. The website's www.windupminds.com. We are on all the main socials. So what we're trying to do right now is we opened a Discord community. And we want folks to come join it. You can sign up at www.windupminds.com. And the Discord community is really like, I want to get a wide swath of people who are interested in what we're building, because I don't want to appeal just to like the hardcore VR gamer shooter dude. Like, I want to appeal to people who love Animal Crossing, people who love Remember Nintendogs, people who love Tamagotchi, dog lovers, cat lovers. I want to be able to appeal to broad swath of it. And if the folks who come join can see how we're building this, can see all the sort of cute pet pictures that we put up, and to really give us feedback on what we're doing, right? And we're gonna have a release of the game that's very early for people to play. So the best thing anyone can do is, if you think, a virtual creature who loves you back is something that seems cool, and that you have some thoughts about how we should do it, you should come join our Discord and talk about it, because we really are building a community and a game and experience meant to be enjoyed by, my people, right? Which are dog and cat people.
Yeah.
So the more of y'all come in, the better it is for the experience, right? So I'm super excited to have people join and give us feedback.
That's amazing. Everyone check it out, windupminds.com, and also join their Discord so you can be a part of shaping this super cool, groundbreaking technology. You're working on an amazing product. I'm very passionate about pets, so I am so happy to look for, as you can see, I have an Oculus, so I am looking forward to getting my hands on a virtual pet as well. And thank you so much. Keep us posted.
Thank you for having me.